Hi, everyone. This is the Path to Profit podcast. I'm Dr. Minette Riordan here with my fabulous husband. Last time you were amazing. Today you're fabulous. Brad Dobson. We are the co-founders of the Path to Profit Academy, where we teach creative entrepreneurs how to build profitable businesses. And we are huge fans of goal setting. But
this is goal setting month.
This is goal setting month, but it's goal setting with a twist, right? So this is episode number 76. In episode number 75, we talked about why you should do a year-end review.
Yeah, super good stuff.
And how to do a year-end review, and awesome worksheet that we created for you to help you do that. And so if you're listening to this episode and you haven't done your year-end review, we want to encourage you to go back and do that before diving into our conversation today. And I think goal setting is on our minds. It's on everyone's minds. There's bazillions of blog posts out there right now, and Facebook posts and Facebook Live and tweets and Instagram. And I don't know about you, I'm a planner junkie, so I get every Facebook and Instagram ad for all the different planners that are out there right now. It's like, it's what we're naturally thinking about, yet it's also a natural time of the year to pause, to reflect. Bears are hibernating. I think humans have this sense of needing to hibernate and to rest and to pause. So before you go full gear into setting goals for next year, think about why you're setting goals. What is it that you want to accomplish? So we're going to share some philosophies around goal setting. And before we get into those, I'm going to share the quote with you. You don't have your glasses on, so I guess I get to share the quote too. So this is from Les Brown, who, if you've never heard Les Brown speak, he's an amazing speaker and an amazing man. And he said that if you set goals and go after them with all the determination that you can muster, your gifts will take you places that will amaze you. And so our dream and our wish for you is that your goals will take you places that will amaze you also. But there's some things to think about first.
And we'll make 2018 your best year ever.
And we'll make 2018 your most spectacular year ever. Yes, because that is the title of this episode, right?
Just thought I'd share that.
Just thought you'd share that. You want to say that again?
Well, is it going to be your most spectacular year ever or your best year ever?
I like most spectacular year.
Okay.
Because if I'm going to be really amazed by myself, it needs to be spectacular.
When I say the word spectacular, I think fireworks.
Yeah, me too.
For some reason. Mm-hmm. I guess it must be it's a July the 4th thing.
Even though it's like December, whatever it is today.
So where are we going with this?
Where are we going with this? So we're going to start by talking about how to determine your goal setting persona. So before you actually think about the types of goals to set for yourself and for your business, it's helpful to know, is setting goals really useful for you, right? For some people, setting goals can be overwhelming, it can be distracting, or you can get so focused on the end goal that you can't see what your next step is. So there's 3 different types of goal setting personas. And I just taught this content recently in a webinar that I did by the same name, Make 2018 Your Most Spectacular Year Ever. And it was so much fun. And it's actually part of our brand new membership program that we're creating. We're going to be launching in January, called the Creative Business Accelerator. So stay tuned for more details about that. But there's 3, probably more, but for sure there's 3 different goal setting personas. One is you get super excited about setting new goals, but you become easily distracted and discouraged.
That sounds like the typical New Year's type of goal.
The New Year's resolution type goal.
Yeah.
You know, but then there are some people, and I actually have a lot of clients. In fact, I was talking to one of them this morning who have this type of goal setting persona, where their stomach knots up into a dismal little lump of cold gravy when they try to set a goal, and you put off goal setting until later. And I think that could come from
trying to tackle too much.
And from fear of failure.
Trying to wrap your arms around a giant bear of a goal.
Yeah, I think I gave up New Year's revolutions.
New Year's revolutions. I like that one.
I need a revolution. I gave up New Year's resolutions because I found that I was setting them, but nothing ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know,
Sure.
They say that by the second week of January, you've already forgotten what your resolutions are.
Yes.
Which is not really helpful.
And I think we can talk about the fact that goal setting is a practice.
Yes. And it's a journey, right? It's having that goal out there gives us a destination to work towards, which leads me to the third and very rare type of goal setting persona, which is you have iron self-discipline. That's not those of us who are creative. I would say there are a few of us that would claim that we have iron self-discipline. You set goals, and although it's not easy for you to keep walking the straight and narrow towards them, reminding yourself of the benefits you will reap if you stay true to your path helps you achieve them. So this is like the Les Brown comment that it takes determination to get there. But I also think that that iron self-discipline comes from clarity around exactly what it is that you want to create. And I think
Hmm.
when we just set goals for the sake of setting goals, because people like Brad Minette are telling you you should be setting goals, then you're really dooming yourself from the beginning. And so it's all about setting the right goals.
Sure, sure. But I think this goal setting persona thing is neat because it gives you a chance to know a little bit more about yourself. And, when you know more about yourself, you understand your reactions better, and maybe you don't fail or crater quite so badly because you give yourself a break because, hey, that's just the type of person that you are.
Yeah, and most of us fall somewhere in between actually goal persona 1 and 2, right? The person who gets really excited but then gets distracted, and the person whose stomach is all tied up in knots. And part of the challenge is that sometimes we see a goal as a destination and we forget about the journey. And really, sometimes goals are just the steps along the way. And we create so much overwhelm by setting goals that are either too far out, too big, too challenging. And so, one of the secrets to making consistent progress towards that clear destination is, drumroll please, dun, 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 dun.
Mini goals.
Woohoo!
Let's practice some things. Maybe that big, hairy, audacious goal. It's in your mind, but maybe you haven't had a lot of success with setting and achieving goals. Well, that's fine. Just give yourself a break and set some smaller ones. Everybody on January 1st, everybody says, I want to lose 20 pounds.
Or 40 or 50 or
How,
100.
how about you just say, I want to lose 1 pound of body fat? Um, or, everybody says, I'm going to make $1 million this year. How about you just make $1 a day consistently from an online sale, or, as an example? Or how about you get one new client in a month, consistently? A lot of what we see in our own business and what we see in our clients' business is inconsistency in income.
Mhm.
So let's work on that process of consistency. Let's get better at that, and at the same time, we'll get better at our goal setting and goal achievement.
And the reason that this whole concept of mini goals works so well is because those mini goals are the building blocks of belief. And one of the things that I've noticed, in particular over the last few months of working with our clients, is that what's missing is not strategy, it's not tactics, it's not goals and plans, it's belief and confidence in our
Hmm.
own ability. And every mini goal that you absolutely accomplish and pause to celebrate the success and achievement of that mini goal builds your belief in your ability to then set bigger goals. I agree with Brad. I think we just bite off chunks that are way too big. And or we tend to make our goals really black and white, right? And we say it's either or. And if I don't reach that goal, then I was a total failure. And they don't say that the tactic failed or the strategy failed. We take it so much more personally as I am a failure, when in business, the secret to success is constantly trying new things until you find what works. And they're never failures. Every one of them is a learning opportunity. Everybody's heard the quote by Edison about the invention of the light bulb. Well, it took a team of people, a team of engineers and scientists, and it took like 3,000 attempts before they had a light bulb that worked consistently. So his goal, his ultimate goal, was to create a light bulb, right? But look at the journey and the process that it took. And his perspective of that journey was so beautiful. About every time it didn't work, he's like, well, I don't have to do that again. And so those mini goals give you that opportunity to try things, try them faster, and move forward more quickly.
They also give you a chance to um, learn to love the process.
Yeah.
And this is a critical part of, certainly, my triathlon and Ironman training.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen this come up multiple times in different sports psychology venues. But it's true outside of that as well. And I'm talking to myself to a certain extent here in terms of business goals. What if you learn to just set goals and learn to enjoy the process of reaching them? For Ironman training, I have a goal today of completing my prescribed workout, and doing it well. And I can say the same thing about my business. What if I move the needle one way and do a great job on it? That's a success. So I set that goal for one day, or perhaps I want to put together a week of that. And the same thing is true with your weight loss goals or whatever those are.
Well, I was
Can you be
thinking,
consistent for a day, for a week,
yeah.
and enjoy it, and get back to remembering why you set those mini goals and where you're going with them?
But also, I think what you said was so important. Not only am I going to do my one workout today, I'm going to do it well. And we talked in our last episode around the year in review about doing a content audit and looking at what we've created. And as you said that, the thought that flowed into my mind, what actually two thoughts was: the first, that's been my journey with art, right? Is that the more art that I make, the better that I get at it, and the more willing I am to share it out publicly. But also your content creation in your business, rather than saying, oh my gosh, I have to write a blog post every day. What if you wrote one blog post a month that was amazing? What if you really put the time and effort
Hmm.
into doing it really well? I can get so caught up in just being creative and wanting to just make all the time. And it's really not helpful to us or to our business. And so learning, when is it okay to set a small goal and give it the time that it needs? And that whole concept that as humans, our biggest gift and our biggest challenge is our humanness, right? It's like we have to be willing to be creative, to use our imagination, and we all wanted to go faster. And the truth is, sometimes it doesn't go faster, and we have to be willing to be flexible,
Hmm. Nice segue into the third point.
which is about going with the flow. And what does it really mean to go with the flow? And I think so often as creatives, we have a lot of resistance to goal setting, to structure, to deadlines. And the truth is, there is always spaciousness when you set your goals right to do both, to go with the flow and to not be rigid in your goal setting by allowing for flexibility.
Hmm.
Right? I think we often think that we get in this rut or in this path and we have to stay on this course, when there's roadblocks, there's detours, there's potholes along the journey. And it's our ability, our greatest area of opportunity for growth is how we manage the potholes and the detours. And that's where flexibility comes in, is so important.
Yeah, and I think my perspective on this point too is, we wrote down flexibility in your goals and flow and finding the right path. And sometimes the right path for you isn't the goal that everybody else is doing,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe it is the goal that everybody else is doing, but your way of doing it is just completely different. That's okay. And maybe it's going to take you 10 years. Maybe it's going to take you a day, because you're different.
Let's
And
hope it doesn't take 10 years. That's too big of a goal.
well, yeah, but I guess the point is, the analogy I brought up once again was with my training, where um, the 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 normal thinking is triathletes should spend more time with a team or a group of people training, because they get the social aspect of it. Um, and I've done that before, and I like it. At the same time, it means that I have to spend a lot of time traveling to where other people are, or commuting to where other people are to do workouts, and I have to do them on somebody else's schedule, and that overflows into how I'm able to treat my own life schedule on a day-to-day basis. And so right now I'm choosing to do all of my training solo, which I enjoy a lot, and I can listen to podcasts and things like that. So it's just a different way of achieving a goal. Yes, there are benefits to doing things one way, doing things the way everybody says you should do it. But you know what? It's you. You get to you get to be in control of your life and how you achieve your goals. And this is about you. It's not about how someone else says you should do something.
We're big fans of the idea that there's no one way to do anything, and there's no such thing as a business in a box. There's no one marketing tactic that will work for everybody. Like right now, Facebook ads are all the rage. Well, if your potential clients aren't on Facebook, then investing money in Facebook ads isn't going to support you. And maybe technology isn't your thing, and what you're really best at is connecting with people through networking or speaking or hosting live events. So
Or Pinterest.
or Pinterest, yes, Pinterest, the rabbit hole. So Pinterest is scary. I can get so lost in Pinterest. See, he took me down the rabbit hole just thinking about Pinterest. But when it comes to thinking about the way forward for you, what we want you to look at is what is the right path for you. And one of the conversations I've been having really often lately with so many of my clients is that right solution should feel really easy. It shouldn't feel like a huge challenge or a huge burden, right? So Brad doing his first Ironman, it was an audacious goal for sure, but he knew how to do it bite by bite, step by step, mile by mile by mile by many, many, many miles. The same is true for your business. We often choose a path because so many other people are saying, this is the way to make money online. This is the way to make money in your business. This is the way to get attention. Do this, do this, do this. Do it my way, and it'll work for you too. And that may be true, like Brad said, but more often than not, finding the path of least resistance is actually the fastest path forward. So I really encourage you, as you're setting goals for next year, to ask yourself, does this goal feel right? One, and we're going to talk more about that in a minute, but also, does this feel like the simplest and most direct route to where I want to go? So if it's going to take an inordinate amount of time, money, and energy to get something off the ground, is that the direction you want to go? And if it is, awesome, do it, go for it. We've invested a lot of time, money, and energy in growing different revenue streams this year. Some of them worked and some of them haven't. So it's just noticing what is the bridge that you are building that's going to make it easiest for you to get across that chasm from where you are to where you want to be. Mm-hmm. So flexibility and flow are important. So is imagination and creativity, but also finding the easiest path forward.
Definitely. Speaking of easy,
yes,
let's ask ourselves.
We did a good job of like making all these like strategies flow right into one another.
Pro segues here. we it's like we've been in media for years.
We have. I have been in media for years.
Let's talk about outsourcing.
Yeah.
And not just outsourcing.
It's getting others to achieve your goals for you.
Where can you get help?
Yeah.
It may be that you're going to pay for it in terms of a virtual assistant, in terms of just anything. I mean, obviously you can pay for everything. A coach. We're huge fans of getting coaching to help support our mindset, to help change our mindset, for accountability. But you can also pay for work to be done outright. Could you get the house cleaned once a month from a service? Just anything like that. Or can you just enlist family to help you? We talked with Matt Miller from Texas the other week, and
episode 74.
Was it 74? Okay. Mm-hmm. And he brought his son on when he was 10 to start doing the graphic artist stuff, the graphic design stuff for his company, because he could pay him cheap, and his kid learned a ton, and it turned into a career for him. So there's a ton of opportunities for you to get help with your goal.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be where you do it all alone.
Yeah. And I think it's first about getting really clear about your goal, like what it is that you want to accomplish. Maybe you want to write a book next year. Maybe you want to
write a chapter of a book.
Maybe write a chapter of a book. Maybe you need a new PowerPoint presentation for a speech that you give a lot. Maybe you want to start a blog this year that's on your dream list. Those are all things that you can get an amazing amount of support for. Yes, you might have to write the content, but you don't have to do the editing, the formatting, the publishing. All of that can be outsourced. So when you sit down and really get clear about what the goals are that you want, ask yourself, does it need to be me who actually accomplishes this goal, or can I outsource this to someone else? Because the more that you can outsource to other people, the faster you're going to make progress and move forward in your business. And this was really challenging for Brad in particular to realize we cannot do this by ourselves. We have to have support. And actually, the faster we can get help and have other people doing some of the work for us, the faster we're going to be able to reach our financial goals.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So moving on from that one, that wasn't as good of a segue.
I thought you were going to say more about outsourcing and your resistance to outsourcing and how you've changed your mind about
I'm getting there.
Getting support.
I'm getting there. I think
clearly not a conversation he wanted to have today.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
I think one of the biggest things that you need to work on, we think that you need to work on in terms of goal setting, and this helps to have gone through the year-end review like we talked about in the last episode, is whether the goals that you set, whether the things that you're working for really align with why you're in business, really align with your big why. Why are you yeah, that's a good one. You could have read that one.
You started first. You didn't give me a chance.
We need to make sure that our goals belong to us. And if
Can I
they
say more about that?
Yeah, well, if they don't, you're not going to succeed with them.
Yeah. So one of the reasons that people often don't achieve goals and specifically New Year's resolutions that get set in January is that the goals don't belong to you. They're shoulds that someone else is telling you to do. Maybe you hear your mom's voice, your dad's voice,
In fact,
your teacher's voice.
I just said you should, didn't I?
Your coach's voice, right? Or a chorus of voices from popular magazines, blogs you read. We've mentioned before, Brad's a huge fan of Reddit. There's probably all kinds of people on there saying, do this, do that. And when it comes down to it, you can't find the commitment and the determination that Les Brown talks about in that great quote that we shared at the beginning. If the goal doesn't belong to you, and if it's not connected to what we like to call your big why, your knowing your why was a term that was coined by Simon Sinek. He has a great TED Talk of that same title, as well as a couple of great books about discovering your big why. But in our Path to Profit Academy vernacular, it's all about what's the impact that you want to have in the world. How do you want the world to be different because of the work that you're doing? And when your goals are connected to that big why, it's easy to connect to the level of commitment and determination that it takes to actually accomplish them.
Yeah. And you can be creative with this. So let's say, I want to lose some body fat, which I do. I know that I'm going to be a better business owner. I'm going to be more effective and help more people with the Path to Profit Academy when I'm healthier. I'll have more energy. I'll be more effective in almost every way. So I can connect that goal directly to my big why of wanting to help 3,000 creative entrepreneurs triple their income in the next 3 years. And even bigger parts of what we're doing this business for. So you can just spend a little time to draw some lines between how those little mini goals can help you move towards your big why.
Absolutely. And I love the way you said that about connecting the mini goals as the stepping stones along that path to your big why is so important. And I also loved what you said about how getting fit is essential to you feeling great about what you're doing in your business. So some of these goals may be specifically business related, and some of them may be very personal, but always asking, how committed are you to making it happen? And we do this with our clients, and I find it a fascinating process when we say, if they set a bold money goal, for example, and they say, well, I want to make $250,000 next year. And then I'll ask, well, how committed are you to making that money? Because if you're not at a 10 plus on a scale of 1 to 10 for making that goal, you're not going to reach the goal. And if you're not committed, why not? And sometimes if that goal is lose 10 pounds, write a book. In fact, I had this conversation at a networking group with a friend of mine. She's like, everybody keeps saying I should write a book. And she had no energy or enthusiasm for writing a book. And she's like, it's the thing everybody's saying I should do. That is not her goal.
Right.
Right. So it's a great thing to ask, how committed are you to making it happen? And if you're not committed, then get curious. Is it because it's really not your goal and it's something that someone else said you should have done?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you brought up earlier, I noticed that in both you and I, when we've been at a couple of conferences, especially social media conferences and business conferences, are classic for jumping on the bandwagon with the newest technology.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's Facebook Messenger bots, where you can have a robot automatically respond to someone's Facebook Messenger message, and so everybody is on stage, talking about how great these things are. Oh, and you get caught up in it. Oh, I got to do that. It's important. If I don't do that, my business is going to fail, or I'm leaving dollars on the table. That might be true, but it's probably not true for you. And it's
they're all up
probably
there
not
pitching their best ideas, right? Because they want to enroll you in their goals for their business.
What's really going to move the needle on your business is how excited you are about the process each day of working on your best stuff and producing your best stuff. Whether that's talking with people or generating content online, those are the types of things that are going to move the needle on your business. But it's easy to get caught up in someone else's goals.
Yeah.
And so take care with that one.
And then the last thing that we want to share for this particular episode is don't do it alone. We cannot say enough about how important it is to join a support group of some kind, and that the hardest part about building a creative business is that feeling of isolation and loneliness that comes from doing it home alone. Even when Brad was working full time for his job and he was working from the house, we were both in the same space, but we weren't in the same game. And having each other to be able to brainstorm, connect, collaborate, battle, as you said, right? Hammer it out why we should or shouldn't be doing things. We could do a whole episode on being couplepreneurs, right? And what that looks like. We had a lot of fun.
Break out the Nerf bats for that.
Break out the Nerf bats for that. That would be really hilarious. Or, we're getting ready for the new Star Wars launch. Maybe we need our lightsabers.
Yeah. Or we could just do some passive aggressive puppets or something.
Anyway, don't do it alone. Whether that is creating a mastermind of your own, joining a local group, even a local women's networking organization or a men's networking organization, find a meetup of like-minded entrepreneurs, join a paid group like our Creative Business Accelerator that we're launching in January, or we have other programs as well. Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups. There are so many places to get support so that you have a place to share your ideas and get feedback. We cannot build our business in a vacuum, so we cannot say enough about getting support. Brad and I invest lots of money and time in getting support. We take classes. We have one-on-one coaches, both fitness coaches, health coaches, as well as mindset coaches. And I have a sales coach this year, right? All these different ways that we get support, and we go to networking and conferences. So please, please, please know that when it comes to growing exponentially, growing faster, and growing in the best possible direction for you next year, don't do it alone. Find a group.
Yeah, I can't stress that enough. You just simply will not.
Said the introvert.
You simply will not. I won't say you won't succeed.
You won't go as fast.
You won't grow. And you need to grow. You need to grow personally, mentally, technologically. Just so many different ways that you need to expand and grow, and those are only going to happen by being exposed to a bunch of the right people.
Right. And I'm not saying go buy a bunch of online home study courses, right? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about getting support from a group of people who can give you feedback on what it is that you're implementing in your business or where you're stuck in your business.
Mhm.
And when we're stuck in our business, it usually is an inner game as much as an outer game. So many different things to think about before you launch into goal setting, which leads me to episode number 77 will be our next episode. And we're going to share our top 5 favorite goal setting strategies. So today we talked more about goal setting philosophy, what to look at,
Mhm.
goal setting personas as well. And next will be, now that you kind of have an idea where you're going, how do you go there? So we're going to break it down.
Cool stuff.
Break it down, break it down.
I think that's it.
You think that's it? So this has been episode number 76 of the Path to Profit podcast. I am Minette. This is Brad. We are the co-founders of pathtoprofitacademy.com. You can go there to find all the show notes, references. Don't forget to go download our worksheet on how to do your year-end review. And you can check out this week's blog where I have more detail about the goal setting personas as well. We'll put a link to that blog post in the show notes so you can access that too. And we would love some comments and feedback on iTunes. Tell us what you love about the show. Tell us what you want to hear more of or what you want to hear less of as part of our goal setting and commitment. One of our things we want to do is continue to grow our podcast, and we're going to do a lot more episodes in 2018 that are just Brad and I. So let us know what you want to hear about and how we can support you in growing your creative business.
And I want to hear what your goals are for 2018.
Yeah, go post it on the blog.
Year.
Yes. Awesome. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.